Hello, good morning. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Laura from Tenacious Taurus Tarot, and this is going to be the weekly forecast for the Twin Flame Collective for the week of June 10th through the 16th. Keep in mind, timing and energy is still fluid. We're going to talk about the astrology aspects that are going to be playing out this week for the twins, how they may or may not affect you, because timing and energy is still fluid, and we all have free will on the journey. And then I'm going to break it down further today, and I'm going to share the downloaded messages that I received connected to both the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine Collective. And then we are going to pull in with some cards to dig a little bit deeper into these energies. But I feel this is a week where the Divine Feminine Collective is really learning to cultivate self-worth and appreciation for the journey, really embracing that self-worth embodiment when it comes to our creativity and just showing up in our authentic compassion and our authentic mission. And so let's get into it, guys. Before jumping any further, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video, comment on the video, and share the video. Help circulate the content. It helps the channel to grow. Nice, free, easy way to show me some love and show me some support. But Divine Feminine, I feel these energies this week are inviting you to explore your sense of self-worth, to embrace any vulnerabilities that are coming up, to be understood, and to seek harmony within these vulnerabilities and any intensified emotions. And so we have Venus in Gemini forming a sextile to Chiron. And so I feel this is a deep healing portal for the Divine Feminine. I was shown the Empress with the Hanged Man, which means I think a lot of the Divine Feminines are coming into these new higher perspectives, or a new perspective about the journey in its entirety. I was also shown the Fool with the Page of Cups. And so this is about being willing to step into the unknown, embrace the unknown, and do some emotional exploration connected to a new beginning. And so right now, I feel the Divine Feminine is being asked to allow herself to be seen and accepted for who you truly are, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And so allow yourself to be seen, because I think it's really time for the Divine Feminine to recognize her unique qualities and her unique talents, and to appreciate yourself, to appreciate your gifts and all that they bring to the world, to the table, and to find joy in the process. And so I think the Divine Feminine is coming into this realization that she has more allies than she thought. We're also going to have Mars forming a square to Pluto the same day that Venus is going to be sextile Chiron. And so I feel the Divine Masculines are in some very harsh, tense energies as the feminine reaches some type of balance. And so the Mars square Pluto is going to be a very intense aspect. This is where collectively we're going to be tested. I think a lot of the Divine Masculines are feeling trapped in a very toxic situation, almost like this energy of me against the world is what it feels like for a lot of the Divine Masculines when it comes to whatever scenario or power struggles they might be facing. I did notice 333 on the timer. And so that's a confirmation. I feel the masculine is facing confrontations. They're navigating a lot of intense feelings that they've buried, that they've repressed. And I think all of this bottled up anger, all of this bottled up resentment is likely going to result in some type of volcanic outburst of all of this destructive rage, temper tantrums. And so I think the masculines need to learn to avoid playing the victim. A lot of the masculines in the collective, they're the victims. They're always the victim. And so I think right now there's a lot of underhanded tactics being played out within some type of power struggling dynamic between the masculine and the karmic, or whatever enemies in disguise that are kind of being exposed in the energies this week. But I also feel this is when the Divine Masculine has that opportunity to break free from anything or anyone that's kind of been holding him back. And so on Wednesday, the middle of the week, we're going to have Mercury forming a square to Saturn. And so Saturn is our strict teacher when it comes to spiritual discipline, especially with it being in Pisces. And with Mercury and Gemini, there is a lot of overthinking going on. And so it's important to guard yourself against shadow pessimism when it comes to overthinking, I feel, this week. And so we need to remember these energies are building. We're already feeling these energies. They will be exact on Wednesday. And this is going to be at 19 degrees 10. So I was shown the Lovers with the Seven of Cups with this energy playing out. Major throat activations. I've been going through a major throat chakra upgrade again, like a throat clearing. I'm also a Taurus, and so I am ruled by the throat. But this is where I feel a lot of us are being asked to achieve that mental discipline. It takes great mental discipline to choose to cultivate optimism and gratitude. And it's a conscious choice to shift the mindset into states of optimism and gratitude. And so we are up against the shadow of pessimism this week is what I feel. So be mindful not to be too narrow with any thought processes or any thinking, and to try to find balance with any new explorative, expansive ways of thinking. Stay true to yourself. I do think the energies are bringing in unexpected upheaval and towers. Usually squares are very challenging, but this is where we are going to be able to learn to foster a healthy inner dialogue so we can gain a deeper sense of self and what it is that we need to bring into our awareness to have that strength to move to the next cycle, to make a choice, right? So making a choice, a need to make a choice, and going through disillusionment when it comes to temptations. And so I feel collectively, the twins are at a major crossroads this week. We're going to have the Sun sextile Chiron and Mercury sextile Chiron, both of these energies taking place on Thursday, June the 13th. And so I think this is a big day because the Sun conjunct Chiron was at 22 degrees 44. So the Fool energy with the Four of Cups. And so what this is bringing forward is a deeper understanding of our hurt and our pain and our role, I feel, collectively as these wounded healers. And so this is where the wounded healer meets the burning core of the very being of our soul. And so there's a shedding going on here, a shedding of light when it comes to our path as healers, as artists, as leaders. And so allow your wounds to fuel your imagination. That is what we're here to create, a new world based on transcending all of these wounds. And so you might find yourself consumed with a lot of mental processes this week. I feel there is a need to let go of past regrets, to take a leap of faith, I feel, and to leave behind self-doubt. So if you've been hesitating to maybe start a channel, Divine Feminine, if you've been hesitating to embrace a new path or a new romance, explore this uncharted territory. I feel the Divine Masculine is taking a step back and really reevaluating his path this week. On Friday, we're going to have the Sun conjunct Mercury. And so this is, I feel, a focus on communication. I think this is where we might expect like a face-to-face or a personal interaction with the counterpart. I was shown the Hanged Man with the Six of Wands, the Queen of Wands with the Lovers, and the Wheel with the King of Swords. And so there could be a fated, destined encounter which might spark an interaction. I feel like a personal face-to-face interaction. I also feel the masculine might be making plans to have a conversation. This is also, I feel, a really good opportunity for those that are in communication with their counterpart to start a new business initiative. So I think it's about making plans for sustainable growth and balancing your goals as well, Divine Feminine, with your personal needs. And so always remember to fill your own cup first. And then on Saturday, June the 15th, we're going to have Venus squaring it up with Lilith. And so the feminine energy squaring it up with Dark Moon Lilith. This, I feel, is refining our mission. That's what I felt with this energy, understanding our primal desires. I think it can be very intoxicating, the energies leading into the weekend. But this is also, I feel, a big portal of being able to release sexual shame and recognizing any hidden motivations when it comes to healing our self-worth. So right back to the start, right? Healing that self-worth. On Sunday, we'll close off the week with Mercury square Lilith. And so this is Death, Two of Cups energy, Two of Wands, Nine of Wands energy. And so right now we're on the precipice of a brand new cycle, but we do have to go through these unexpected and intense interactions. There's going to be a lot of intense communication, I feel, this week. this is the energy of speaking directly from the heart, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and dealing with any controversies. So there might be impulsive communication, impulsive decisions, impulsive actions being taken. But there's also going to be the possibility of a lot of intrusive thoughts flooding our mind, flooding our consciousness, and we got to compound all of these hidden frustrations, and they're going to be a result of whatever is being reflected in the energies in front of you. So deep desires, shadows coming to light. The psyche right now is very potent, I think. Mixed emotions and deep-seated emotions are likely coming to the surface this week. So we can find our self-expression without the fear of judgment. And so how can you refine your truth this week and align with your most authentic self, I think is a really powerful question to ask yourself. So I'm going to go further into the messages that I channeled. I was going to break it into 3 separate videos, but I am not going to do that. But I am going to jump into the Divine Feminine first, and we're going to talk about the extremes that we go through when it comes to our love of humanity. It is a passionate love and hate energy, and we do have to reach that proper balance between these extremes. And so right now there's a lot of behavior, I think, being expressed when it comes to the extremes, right? The Divine Feminine needs to master modesty. I was shown the number 15, which would be connected to the Devil card. And so a lot of the feminines go through extreme trauma bonds. We've lived through some extremes in our life when it comes to finding our own rhythm. And so the gateway of the feminine opening up her aura, her auric field, right? Because the feminine does hold the vessel of love. The feminine is the Holy Grail chalice of love. And so we have a duty, right? And so the feminine has to confront her shadow, her fears first. We go through all of this clearing first, this alienation, and we look like we're crazy when we come through with all of these exaggerated claims of our awakening and the connection with the counterpart. And a lot of us are challenged through these extremes, so we can confront any relationships that are no longer in harmony on our path. And so we go through this alienation, which feels like the fall, which feels like the detriment. But this is where we have the capacity to learn to love ourselves through these extremes of alienation. And so we are here to be of influence, right? A lot of us are asked to be these public influencers. And so we are here to take action to manifest new earth, to conceive new earth. And so we're given this power, or this position of power, and there's a lot of expectations that the feminine is being held up to when it comes to taking right action and course correction. And so I think a lot of the feminists would love to just point the finger at the counterpart and be like, I told you so. You didn't listen. I tried to warn you. I told you so. Because a lot of the feminines recognize that the masculine will eventually self-destruct. And that is also part of the role reversal when the feminine reaches that 0 point of alignment. When the feminine is the wallflower itself and kind of in the flow, that is when she's shielded against the exposure of whatever the masculine is going through. So I think if you're feeling in the flow, this is like a genuine confirmation that I think you've been exalted. And so if you've been feeling any uncomfortableness of self, that's probably because your counterpart is way out of flow. And I think he's in a weak defense at this point in time. Ultimately, I think the masculine's in some type of exposure or humiliation, public humiliation. So he can understand that he's out of flow of self with the mirror soul. And so right now, the feminine, I feel, is very sensitive, very in touch with the sensitivity of what is going on with the unbalanced behavior and cycle connected to the masculine. And so there's a very changing, challenging environment, I feel, that the feminine is feeling the counterpart go through. And so we have the power to grow beyond that. So when we harness self-love and we know that the masculine is overcompensating, trying to mask his emotions, then we have to find the drive to not disturb our flow of energy, right? Do not be dragged down with the disturbing flow of the counterpart's energy. We have to defend ourselves. And so right now, I think there's a confusion going on. because confusion is not weakness, first and foremost. And so we are constantly in a re-examination state. A lot of the feminines, I feel, we're in this constant re-examination state when it comes to weeding out things in our lives that are a block. And so we got to find the weakest point of self in order to understand where people use our weak spots as weapons against us. And usually it's a weak spot within our self-worth or a thought process. And so right now I feel we are going right into the weakest point of what it is we need to clear so we can fully manifest being in the flow wholly and completely, because a lot of us are here to harness the love of humanity, and the feminine has the capacity to accept the full spectrum of human behavior, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is like the awakening of the heart. And then we recognize the fixed patterns when it comes to society as a whole, and all of these toxic behaviors, these human behaviors, our contribution to them through our past life timelines and our own karma that we've accrued throughout many incarnations. And so we are here to bring a new contribution of love, and how love is here to exist in the world. And so love is not just about the connection with the counterpart. It's more than that. It's about connection of the transpersonal love for humanity. And so love for humanity brings all of this diversity into the collective, into our world. And so love of humanity always begins with the love of the extremes of all of our behaviors. And a lot of us can seem a little bit crazy on this journey at times. And we do have to love ourselves through all of the extremes of emotions. The feminine is the embodiment of all of these extreme emotions. And so I do feel, for me, I've been super tired lately, wanting to sleep a lot. And so that's also part of the clearing when we go through the judgment or soul retrieval, is like I call it. So I think right now the feminine's aura, the magnetism is being amplified right now. And this is really forcing the masculine to acknowledge the connection. He's so magnetically drawn and guided to go towards the feminine and all of her influences. So right now there's a rebalancing, a reintegration going on within the collective. And I feel it just feels like the feminine's just got to keep treading water as the masculine goes through this awakening. And so the love of self really is the embodiment of being fully awakened. Self-love, the love of self. And so we are, I think, learning to love ourselves despite any negative parts of our journey. And so when we fully know and accept ourselves and our place within the collective, then we can truly get rooted in our valued sense of purpose, no matter where we are at in our lives. And so when we know our place and we know how to act like a divine feminine, and we are no longer acting out of this oversensitivity of the hurt, of the pain, of our hurt feelings, to any external conditionings of our lives, that's when we can successfully overcome these behavioral issues, I guess is the best way to say that. So with Mercury, with these energies with Mercury, Mercury square Lilith, I feel there's going to be a lot of mental functions that are going to enrich this aloneness, this process, and we're going to become exalted, I feel. So the feminine is mastering independent behavior through the isolation from the counterpart. And so we are here to be interdependent. And so the number 10 was prominent, was present. And so 10s are an energy of endings, completion. 10s, I connect to the wheel of fortune, so a fated completion. And I feel the masculines are in angry exile right now. They're angry. They are angry that the feminine has preserved her independence in the face of all of societal conditioning. And the masculine, I feel, is reflecting the martyr energy. And they're still rejecting the feminine because of the martyr energy, the martyr complex, right? And so a lot of the masculines become like an active pursuit of being the martyr, because it allows them this personal aggrandizement, right? And then they feel they can attract all kinds of attention this way when they play the victim. And this puts them in an opportunist state. So I know for me, I've been lured by an opportunist martyr many times on my journey. They like to play the victim, right? They like to play like, oh, poor pitiful me. And so the transformation for the feminine collective is to transcend into these higher codes, to no longer fall for the opportunist martyr, right? And the opportunist martyr is a game player, right? It's like a mental mind fuck when these people come for us, right? And so I think I've experienced every shade of narcissism, like the grandiose narcissist, the covert narcissist, the psychopath. And so there are certain people that will be put on our path to try and alter our course and to try and get us to play into these negative behavioral patterns by taking advantage of our kindness and our empathy. There's a lot of opportunists out there. And so to be a heretic on the journey is to challenge the norm, is to look beyond the patterns, is to find a deeper understanding. And so they were showing me like the burning at the stake. And that is what these martyr opportunist people do. They are not divine connections. They are toxic connections. And it is the energy of you may as well be burned at the stake. And so we have to overcome these, right? We have to overcome these challenging behaviors. We have to recognize the patterns, and we have to recognize this is not a punishment. Eventually, this is a lesson that we are here to perfect, to express within society, to overcome. And so right now the feminine is being asked to be that constant example. The constant example to break free from this complacent energy. Like, I don't think it's that hard to ask for basic integrity and basic respect when it comes to a certain set of behaviors within relationships. And so a lot of the feminines endure a lot of energies dealing with men in this martyr complex. And so this will also hinder our self-worth and our self-value. And so we can't be hypocrites either, right? We can't be like, do as I say, and then not do the same actions that you're preaching about. So we have to practice which that we are preaching. And so right now I think the feminine is learning to overcome restrictions. I think just accepting the conviction of this complex connection. And so the love of self is always going to be where we need to find our purest potential. And so there could be several behaviors that we need to explore, I think, this week. Self-awareness is really the beginning part of the potential of the full awakening experience to genuine self-love, which I think is really hard. And so to surrender to living life authentically is challenging, right? As authentically as we can be ourselves. We have to know ourselves, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we have to love everything that makes us unique. We have to empower ourselves before we can empower others to love themselves as well. And so true awakening is through surrender. That's what I wrote. True awakening through surrender. It's not about commitment to becoming something else. It's about commitment to becoming yourself. After you strip away all of the layers of these conditioned beliefs, so we can honor and explore life from this self-aware place of then enhancing the pleasure that we experience, right? Empowering joy in our lives. And so the feminine really is the spiritual warrior. And so I think triumph over survival is what the feminine is encompassing this week. The selflessness that you give out with your love, it does create like a universalization of oneness. And so keep giving yourself, keep going through the psychic attunement. I think the psychic attunement in itself is its own karmic reward. And so we need to stay centered and attuned through any external challenges, because there might be an existential crisis that you might also need to surrender to. And so devotion and dedication to the present moment is really what allows us to enrich our strength and our power of spirit. Because I think right now there's just a huge acceptance of the loss, right? And so it's not failure to accept losses. So I think right now the feminine is just recuperating, right? It's in a state of recuperation. A lot of the masculines threw the feminine away like a rose in a garbage dump is kind of how it felt, right? And so I think with Venus also conjunct Jupiter, Venus conjunct the Sun, all of these conjunctions, the feminine is exalted as she kind of embodies her highest principles this week. And so the feminine really is the spiritual warrior. And I do feel you are working closely with Archangel Michael this week. And so the divine masculine, let's get into the divine masculine collective, and we'll go a little bit further with the messages that came through for the divine masculine collective and the divine masculine energy, because I think there's a lot of criticism surrounding the masculine. So there's a lot of criticism, something about the moon transitioning through Cancer this weekend. I think there's a lot of moodiness, intermittent moodiness. The masculine is coming to the understanding of this cyclical experience is what I feel. Cyclical energy. I think there's a lot of degenerate perversions that the masculine has played into when it comes to indulgent behaviors, decadent behaviors, overstimulating indulgences. And so interesting, the electricity flicked off twice this morning as I was channeling these energies. And I do feel that was a big energy of like, hey, there's some type of electricity flowing through the masculine, stimulating the masculine to understand he's going to have to face these inner difficulties if he is to go towards the feminine, right? And so the masculine needs to face the inner difficulties, understand his true value. I think a lot of them are still on the defense. They've been carried away in that very toxic allegiance. And so defense is really what they're doing. They're defending the toxicity, because there's a lack of identification of self there. I feel it's like they're losing their entire identity in that toxic simulation. And so there's like a channeling energy of judgment coming through for the divine masculine collective. I was shown the number 58, which would be key. Key 58 is the Four of Swords in the tarot. So there's a new understanding about death. So there's like a death energy coming through. I think a lot of the masculines are feeling weak or unhealthy, which would also be likely why you're tired as well, divine feminine. And so they are doing everything they can to avoid course correcting. They are doing everything they can to avoid course correcting is what I feel going on with the masculines, because they're like in this state of being a follower. They're not grounded. They're overthinking. There's patterns coming up when it comes to a new direction for them. And so the energy surrounding the masculine, I think, is asking him to move away from these people that he is connected to so he can properly channel this energy, so he can correctly channel this energy. And so I think ancient laws are coming in and kind of reformulating the masculine's future. And so right now the masculine is fixed in a certain pattern, and there's a lot of projection I feel going on. There's a lot of projection. I think the masculines are open to a lot of spiritual attacks in this energy. And so right now I feel there's a lot of discrimination. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of fingers pointing at the masculine. As the feminine reaches successful achievement of her purpose, the masculine goes through this overactive discrimination. And I think he will eventually be left virtually alone too, as part of this expense of that karmic relationship. So I think right now the masculine is coming into a new understanding of what is necessary for him to move forward towards a new healthy relationship experience. And I do feel he's understanding that he can't take these shortcuts, right? He's going to have to get to the end of the journey by not missing anything, right? He's going to have to go in, and anytime he skipped a lesson or skipped a detail, he's going to have to go back and learn that lesson. And so there's a big probing energy too of where the masculine was misguided with these so-called opinions of others that really are bringing forward these disastrous results for the masculine. And so the gateway of upheaval, I feel the masculine is in a state of upheaval, and there's like no end in sight is kind of how it felt. Tapping into that, I feel there's still like so much arrogance surrounding the masculine, despite all of the evidence of the truth of this connection. And I just feel the buck stops here. And so they have refused to see the value of the connection. And I do feel this is leading them to a perfected path of a very painful ending. And so right now, nothing else for the masculine to learn in that karmic cycle other than the acceptance of what no longer is good for them. And so they are being called to trust. They are being tested with a lot of criticism, with a lot of humiliation, with a lot of public humiliation. And so they are definitely having to look at this from a whole new perspective. I think they cannot keep staying in that situation because of the mental anxiety, is what I wrote, mental anxiety. And that is coming out of fear of doing the right thing. And so I feel the masculine's being taken to the Godhead of Christ. So like a coming to Jesus moment. They are definitely being forced to the adherence of the spiritual challenges, the spiritual circumstances that need to be modified. And so they've avoided this upheaval, I feel, up until now. And they're going to have to correct. They're going to have to course correct. And so there's a lot of raging against the machine kind of energy coming through. There's a lot of energetic obsession, I feel, to clean up a mess. There's a lot of disillusion of the old contract going out at a very high price, I feel, at a very high price. And there's a lot of rigid judgment that is creating all kinds of problems that the masculine is going to have to solve. And so I think they're feeling incompetent. As I say that, I heard a big bang upstairs. I think they're feeling incompetent. I think they are recognizing that indecision is a decision. And this overwhelming anxiety, because there's no escaping from this misfortune. And so there really is no escaping from the misfortune. And so everything will come up roses when the masculine reaches his perfective form. And so there is a huge like eye for an eye going on here. I feel eye for an eye. And so this channel of judgment is ushering in a new understanding for the divine masculine. So let's jump in with some cards. And let's see what else needs to come through with the cards for the twins. So I am going to jump in with the Priestess of Light Oracle cards to start. Let's get a couple of these messages and let's set the tone for the week ahead. 35, there's that 9 of Wands energy, Wounded Healer, 10 of Cups. So sacred gratitude, reverent appreciation, and prayer. So I do feel that, oh, that's so interesting. I actually was out in the backyard and I did have my hand on my back tree, just like that, yesterday. Clairvoyancy, inspiration, interpretation, and trust. So there is a wounded healer energy coming through here, and I do feel we are needing to trust that there is clarity coming. So let's get a few of these cards. Let's set the tone for the reading for the week ahead. But we need to remember, too, there is eternal love here. So what do we get? There is eternal love here. We get the Twin Flame card out. And so this is your soul partner. This is an eternal connection. The twins came here to heal Mother Gaia. I feel Tower, 6 of Cups energy, and I feel, oh, look at that, death and rebirth. So we are in a major portal of illumination. So there is huge potential to receive from the counterpart. And I feel many of the feminines are reaching public achievement. So the buffalo, the white buffalo. And so 9 of Cups, effort plus intention is leading the twins out of the darkness into the light. And so I feel this week is going to be a major release, a state of catharsis. I do feel there's a lot of mirroring energies, and we do have the power to give and receive healing. So are you open to receiving this? Because I do feel there's a lot of life force energy being saturated so we can harness our personal power. So let's get into it with the Heart's Hidden Secrets deck, and let's see. Oh, look at that. Hoping for a second chance. This could be a week of a second chance. of a reconciliation, of making amends. So keep holding that faith. Keep manifesting and expecting the best, Divine Feminine, because I do think this is a week of truth, clarity, setting those intentions for an honest second chance. So let's get into it. What needs to come through for the Divine Masculine Collective? So they are still concealing something. They are still concealing something. Any other messages for the Divine Masculine? Oh, geez. They are in the dark. They are reminiscing. It is bittersweet. I think they're finally starting to see the forest through the trees. They are recognizing that this is a mirror soul connection. They are having twin flame, twin soul recognition of the shared feelings, and they will be returning for a second chance. They are thinking about it. They're missing you. They're desiring you. And I do feel they are going to be taking a chance this week, taking a risk. The Divine Masculine, they are pretending, but there is an emotional storm brewing because they are watching you. They are spying on you. There is still an obscurity or a block here. I think they are concealing the fact that they are trying to get information on you. And so there's a very unstable foundation surrounding the masculine. And they have been lying to everybody that, you know, they are not missing you. They are longing for you. They are missing you. They are craving you. They are wanting you. They are hoping that someday they'll be able to see you. I think they are obsessed with coming in with some type of commitment, but they're in some type of karmic web that is tricking them into being dishonest. And so there's a new beginning here, but I feel the masculine is in a state of grief, sorrow, loss. Let's get into it on the Divine Feminine side, chemistry. I think you are magnetically attractive at this time. I think the masculine can no longer deny the passion, the spark, and I think get ready to receive an apology. The masculine will be coming in with truth and clarity, and so you're ready to receive this. There's going to be a very intimate conversation is what it feels like. A very truthful, honest, intimate conversation. You might also be attracting in a soulmate. So you might have a choice between two this week. Do not allow resentment, anger, or bitterness or past words that were spoken to hold you back, because I do feel there is going to be a major return this week. A huge opportunity for an apology. So do not hold on to any bitterness, because we are manifesting a new beginning. So get ready to purge any residual grief connected to the loss. If there's any conflicted feelings, you need to work through those, because you might have multiple options as well. But let's go a little bit further with some tarot and dig a little bit further into the masculine. Yeah, unexpected communication. I think the masculine is unexpectedly showing up, and he is putting it all on the table. This is also like an unexpected piecing out of something that he's held on to, maybe for like the last 4 years. So what else needs to come through for the Divine Masculine? Interesting, interesting. All done in that loveless situation. So I do feel there could be like exposure of like a disloyalty. I just feel he's all done investing in the drama. All done with the drama. All done in a situation where there's no spark. There's probably no intimacy. And I'm all done fighting. I'm all done. I'm not investing anymore. And so I feel that there's that Seven of Wands in reverse. The masculine is done. So I feel everything is happening behind the scenes. The masculine is probably having a hard time defending himself. There's a lot of people here in the mix putting their opinion in. But the Knight of Coins is saying like all done investing. So there's been some type of releasing. And so I think by the full moon, you're going to be hearing from the counterpart. By the full moon, he's going to be taking some action. So Divine Feminine. So you could be dealing with a Leo, a Pisces. Your counterpart could be dealing with a Leo or a Pisces. That's the truth. Maybe prominent Leo, Pisces. On the Divine Feminine side, we got, I can't even make this up, guys. We got the Ace of Swords with the Two of Cups. So I think I think you're receiving all kinds of divine communication. And so you might even receive word of the breakup, of the ending, of your masculine being deeply wounded at this time. But there is a realignment, and I think you are it, Divine Feminine. You're on fire. You are coming into all kinds of public affluency, all kinds of recognition. Get ready to receive a message. I think a very emotional message, and this is going to move things along very quickly. Probably by the new moon in Cancer, there will be an opportunity to plant a seed for a new beginning here. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of emotions coming in, a lot of emotional conversations. There is going to be an opportunity to start over. You get to decide if you want to move in a new direction or not. Do not allow arrogance, pride, stubbornness, or ego to prevent you from this connection, because I do think there's some tension here that does still need to be worked through. So let's get a closing message. Let's get a closing message with the crystal stone deck. We'll get one last message or advice card for the Divine Feminine and Masculine. So point your heart towards grace. I do feel a lot of transcendent energies, transcendence. And so I think a lot of the masculines are trying to find their courage right now. What is the closing message for the Divine Masculine? Okay, Muscovite and quartz. So I think this is about developing foresight, enhancing the vision. So I think a lot of the masculines are coming in, and we're not going to see that coming. But I feel the masculines are peering into the future, and they want to believe in this connection. So I think they're recognizing that they've been missing the signs. I think they're needing to get a grip on reality. I think this energy is very intense. Could be dealing with a Gemini, or maybe your masculine is a Mars in Gemini. But I do feel the masculine is learning to find himself. He's overcoming these limitations that he has believed, because I think there's some kind of challenge being put in front of him that is going to help him see through any illusions this week. And so breaking through illusions and start and manifesting. So surrendering self-doubt to the universe for the Divine Masculine. A closing message for the Divine Feminine. Oh, I went flying. Get real with your truth. Oh, so that's just an embodiment of the Ace of Swords. My I got caught there. So get real with your truth and be willing to say yes. It really is time for the Divine Feminine to reclaim her energy from whatever has been draining it. Increase your firepower. That goes right in alignment with that Queen of Wands. So I think it's time to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. It might feel like you've been misfiring with your mission, but I also feel like maybe you were believed to be crazy at a certain point in time, but now people are coming to you for advice. I think it's time to burn the bridges of the past so you can maybe mend the bridge with the counterpart. Something here needs to be burned up when it comes to some karma so you can fully grow in the heart chakra to power up your vitals and align to wholeness. So I think a lot of the feminines are just aligning. So if you've been stagnating or if you've been feeling stuck, I think you're about to be unstuck. Something about that full moon coming up, which is not this week, but next week. And so there will be an opportunity for you to really make some big things happen here. So I think get some sleep, get some exercise, nourish yourself. Even if you have to drag your ass out of bed every day, get up and keep putting in the work. Even if you're feeling completely drained, I do think that's due to a soul-sucking energy connected to your counterpart, maybe a Capricorn, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of psychological work that the feminine does that affects us physically and spiritually. So just do your best to keep going, because it does feel like you're exhausted and like you've been bled dry. What do we got on the bottom of the deck? Power wash your energy, Herkimer Diamond. I just feel we're about to be beamed right up here. The collective of the twins is about to be beamed up. So stop dishonoring the connection. Stop dishonoring your innermost truth, your innermost thoughts, your innermost desires. Get ready to be reoriented on the spiritual path, because there's some type of sacred union coming in, and the truth is going to be clearer than ever this week, and that's what I have. So I really hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book a personal or a soulmate reading with me, check out the description box below. Also, if you would like to become a channel member, there is a membership side to the channel. If you'd like to head on over there and join us live every Thursday at noon over on the membership side, I'd love to have you join us over there. So go check it out. There's a description down below in the video box. So have a great day. Have a great week ahead, everybody. And I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.